friends! Welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Welcome to Code Wars Code Katas episode 43. If you're new to the show, you can visit github.com/codinggarden/code-katas. All of the katas from previous episodes are here, and all of the katas we solve tonight will be here as well. If you're new to Code Wars, you can go to codewars.com. Do they have a new interface? Oh, wait, I clicked on the wrong thing. But you can go to codewars.com. They basically have many different coding challenges that you can try of varying difficulty. They range all the way from 8Q, which is the easiest difficulty, up to 1Q, which is the hardest difficulty. Today, I think we're going to keep it fairly beginner-friendly. We do have some suggestions for katas to solve, so if you have suggestions, feel free to open an issue on this GitHub repo. We have suggestions from Depapom for some 8Q katas. So I think we will look at these first. But let's say hello to everyone. Is the mic out of sync? Test. Seashells by the seashore. Let me know. It kind of looks like it in my preview. Check. In sync? Okay. We're gonna keep going. Hello, Code Disease. Welcome. Hello, Renzo. Yeah, a lot of people want to know, and hello, Get Some. A lot of people want to know, when am I going to finish that inventory app? Soon. The next stream that I do will be on the inventory app. It's either going to be Thursday or Saturday. I don't know yet, but incoming. And hello, Rodrigo from Honduras. Hello, the Nico. Hello, world. Hello, Daniel Garden. Hello, Vuitton. Hello, Net. Greetings, Ramiro, who's from Bolivia. Oh, thank you very much. Hello, Raphael. Seems a bit off. All right, I'll try to fix it. Okay, I'll fix it now. The thing is, if I stop acknowledging chats right now, we're going to get so behind on chat. So let me acknowledge all the chats, and then we'll fix it. Hello, Aman. Hello, Sempom. Hello, CJ. Hello, Junior. Thanks for the follow, Calvarez. Thanks for the follow, Roaming. And hello, it's Remu. Welcome to the show. Hello, Code with Dinesh. Let's see what people have to say. Hello, Yusuf. Hola, spread the word. What's up, Doc? Yeah, I was 1 minute late. I'm sorry, Code Disease. And hello, Alka. We've only just begun. If you're still there, Greg, this is just the beginning. Drop? I don't know. Hello, Matakoma. Well, thank you, Jack. I'll try to stay classy. And welcome, Matakoma, who is a newcomer. Welcome. We welcome the new people here all the time. I'm going to build more things soon. Hello, Imphy. Howdy, Unhot. What's up, CJ? I think the interface is the same. I just clicked on Kumite instead of katas. I think Kumite is like a path of katas to solve, I believe. I don't really even know. I probably should figure that out. Seeing that I'm on Code Wars so often. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. I don't know what that means, but hello, my new brain. Hello, Mitzik. Fix or unsub. You stop it, Bob. You're not even subbed. You're a mod. And I don't even have subs enabled. Stop it. Hello, Kiss My Pixels. Welcome back. When will the Twitch bot be finished? I don't know, but I think Alka's here. We mentioned the other day that we should pair. Oh, that's right. Bob is a member on YouTube. I'm sorry, Bob. You're right. Whatever the members demand, they will get. Not really. Some of what they demand. Hello, Submicron. The new expanding address bar / quantum bar. Yeah, I don't use Firefox, so I wouldn't know. I contemplated using Firefox today, but I'm not gonna. And hello, Frostbites. I need a 5-minute chat timer. Yeah. Wait, it's in sync on YouTube? Okay, those of you watching on YouTube, how does my voice sync up with my mouth? Seashells by the seashore. How is it? Because it could just be a Twitch thing. If it's a Twitch thing, I'm not going to really touch anything because I don't know. Because if one works, it's going to break the other, you know? More Node and React. And hello, Gustavo. Welcome, Aman. And hello, Real Cygnus. CJ versus the audience. Pretty much. That's what this always is. +1. What is W3? It's just a play on the W3C, because W3C is the World Wide Web Consortium, which is the standards body for many of the things on the web. And so I'm W3CJ, because I do web development. I don't know. It's probably not. I don't know. Oh yeah, Firefox is changing. Hello, Scott. Nice. That was a mouth exercise from the movie Anchorman. Oh, oh, what you said earlier? Okay, I forgot what you said, but I see. That makes sense. Hello, Patrick. Instead of seashells by the seashore, I would say that thing. Oh, you're not a member? Come on. Hello, Yamchan. Thanks for the follow. Fine, fine. In sync on YouTube. Okay, it's just Twitch. All right, well, Twitch is messing up. Come on, Twitch. Totally in sync. Hello, Rodrigo, who says, thanks a lot for the React Leaflet project. It helped a lot in my work. And the video is in sync perfectly. Oh, thank you very much. Twitch looks okay now. So Twitch was having an issue. I bought an 800 mic, but sound is not great. I have a very cheap condenser micro. This is like a $35 condenser microphone, and it seems to work okay. There are a lot of highs. I could probably EQ it a little bit better, but it's decent enough. I'm mostly going to be using JavaScript, but it might be fun to jump around to like C#, maybe. Hello, Majestic Guy. Welcome. Hello, Germans. If you type !working on, you'll see what we're working on, but essentially we're just going to be solving Code Wars code katas. So if you go to codewars.com, you can see all of the different katas that they have, and we're going to try to keep it easy tonight. Next time, we're going, for the third time, we're going to attempt to finish that 1Q tiny 3-pass compiler. But not today. Not today. And thanks for the follow, Layman Dot. A few hundred milliseconds? Okay. AWS and Google Cloud Compute? I guess that's what YouTube and Twitch could be using. I don't know. You all got it. That's the command. Hello, Alicia. It has been a while. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I would think my schedule at work would have slowed down during this time, but it's gotten worse. Yeah. Mine hasn't necessarily gotten worse. I've just been really busy at work too, so I stream sporadically. The third and final time. Yes. Next time. Keep it easy. Do a 1Q. Which laptop do I recommend for a programmer? I really, really like MacBooks. I've mentioned it before, but you get the best of both worlds in terms of a Linux desktop and a desktop that is supported by a lot of desktop applications, or an operating system that's supported by a lot of desktop applications, especially if you like to do creative work, like with the Adobe Suite and stuff like that. I really like a MacBook. Should you spend thousands of dollars on it? I don't know. Find a used one. That's my suggestion. And if you can't find a used one, just find a decent Windows laptop and remove Windows and put Linux on it. Hello, Dana Chu. Hello, roaming. That's okay. Good point, Infi. Yeah, so Twitch is owned by Amazon, so they're probably using AWS. Google owns YouTube, so they're probably using Google Cloud Compute. What's up, Depopom? Yeah, we're actually going to do your suggestions. We'll start off with those. Yeah, for sure. I might come around to WSL on Windows, which is the Windows subsystem for Linux. Fireship, who is a YouTube channel, did a recent video on it. It looks pretty sweet. Hello, James. Welcome for the first time. Check out my COVID tracker. Looks like a Rickroll. And hello, OG Jake. You were just watching one of my videos. That's good. Ever heard of RSM for software testing? I have not. No. Yeah, I used WSL on Linux a while back, but yeah, I heard about WSL 2, which is the latest release. I think it's going to be official in May. I don't know. For programming, you can use a potato laptop. Pretty much, except here's the thing. If you're using like Docker, or you have like a really heavy build process for your front-end app, your laptop can struggle. That's the thing. It's a legit link? Okay. Are we about to get rickrolled? Let's turn the sound up just in case we're about to get like rickrolled. There's my break timer. Let's take a quick stretch. Oh yeah, we reached 40K subscribers. We're not going to celebrate though. We're not going to celebrate until 42,000 because that's our number. It's pretty cool. I guess it's in is this Russian? It's like a really nice font for is it Cyrillic? Is that how you say that? Wow. I guess is this just sans serif font with Cyrillic, or is it, or yeah, have you actually set the font? Let's see. And then if we go to the United States, we can go to Denver, where I am. Though, so well, what is this saying? Is this like just the most recently reported case? Because this says Adams, Colorado, but I think is that for the entire state? I don't know, but this looks really cool. I like your icons. The font is Helvetica. Um, the writing system is Cyrillic, and the language is Russian. Nice, thank you, Imphy. Thanks for the clarifications. 42,000 because of 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything, right? I hope everyone is safe against the human malware. Well, thank you, Alexander. But Windows has always been a toy. Yeah, it's the standard font of React. Okay, it must be just be. Yeah, we can inspect it. Font family inherited from body. Oh, it's using my Apple system font. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like it. Great work. What is a good cue to strive for? It's all about where you are in your coding journey. If you're brand new to programming, if you can do just 1 or 2 8 cues in a day, that's totally enough. You really just you have to build yourself up from there. I have been programming for over 15 years. So I've seen a lot in my time in this world, which is why I can attempt some of these harder problems. But you should not be discouraged if you can't get past 6Q or 5Q, because even those are difficult. I created a game with JavaScript Canvas. This is not the finished game. Yeah, I think the data that map was bringing in isn't up to date. And I'll take a look at this link, HappyPhone, but then we're going to get started. I can't click every link somebody sends me. Oh, you have to update it manually. Okay. Which old version of a MacBook would I recommend? If you can find the mid-2015 MacBook Pros, those are great. You can probably find a decent one for like $600 or $700 on eBay. Mid-2015. And with better specs. So the mid-2015 MacBook Pro was one of the last MacBook Pros to have a dedicated video card. And that one goes for about $1,000. But you can find the lesser one, which is still a good laptop. That's what I have here for like $600 or $700. And you can even get the 13-inch version. I have the 15-inch version. Yeah. Cedric with the super chat. Oh, thank you so much. We haven't even got started. Cedric says, keep it up. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Cedric. Bootstrap font. Hello, Kunal. Hello, Mertz. Thank you. Maniac. Fearless web surfer. Oh, okay. In ASCII, 42 is an asterisk, which means you whatever you want it to mean. That's actually very relevant. So let's go ahead and start working on some katas. These were submitted by Depopom. And if you have suggestions for katas, you can open an issue here as well. But like I mentioned, we're going to keep it fairly easy today. So we're going to start with these 8 cues, and then we'll maybe try to pick one of these 6 cues that was suggested as well. But in terms of ASCII codes, that's what actually this problem is. Get the ASCII value of a character. For the ASCII table, we can refer to this website. But if we look at the ASCII table and we look at the value 42, it is in fact an asterisk. And Lusting has given us that fact, so that's awesome. Talking of MacBooks, do I know who Louise Rosman is on YouTube? That sounds familiar. I don't know. With integrated Intel graphics. That's what this MacBook I'm using has. But the one that was better than this one, which I might actually buy because there are a few on eBay, was like the Radeon 580 or something like that. But yeah. You know this kata is easy when you solve it in memory at 4 a.m. Cool. But it's cool to note that and just in general, if you're totally new to programming, learning about the ASCII table, because every character that we know of, like A through Z, capital and lowercase, and all the special characters, map to a corresponding code in ASCII. There are a lot of different encodings. I believe like UTF-8 has a different mapping. There's like Latin something. There's a lot of different character encodings and mappings, but ASCII is one of those character encodings. And what we need to do in this kata is, given a character, like the capital letter A, we need to give back the ASCII value of that character. And in UTF is essentially a superset of ASCII, maintains the same mapping. Okay, that's good to know. I do believe there are other like lookup tables, right? I don't know what they would be called, but essentially like character mappings. ASCII is like the standard that caught on and everybody uses it, but I'm sure there are others out there. Just got up in time to catch the stream. It's 8 a.m. I guess that's not a bad time for where you are. Oh, Luis Rosman repairs MacBooks. That's good. Yeah, exactly. And so I think we'll solve this problem both ways. We are going to create our own table of all the possible values and then just return the value after looking it up, and then I'll show you how it's built into JavaScript. But yeah, let's do this one. This one is fun and interesting. I need to know code war slug for this thing. This wonderful tool was built by Alka. You can put in the ID of a kata. It gives you back all the information, but the thing that I care about is the, wait, not that. The slug. So I like to solve these locally. And locally, I'm just going to create a file, call it that.js. We'll copy our function in here, get ASCII. What is a slug in this context? So a slug is typically like a fairly human readable thing in the URL. So in this case, get ASCII value of character is the slug of the kata. And actually, if I replace that in the URL with the oh, that's not it. If I replace it with the slug, we'll get there. Copy. Kata. Put that there. The URL still technically works. And like on Twitch, twitch.tv. Oh, that's me. Stop it. Twitch.tv/coding garden. Coding garden is the slug. Yeah, you see it on a lot of websites. That's the slug. How are you getting your output displayed? Yeah, you're so right, Impy. What time do I start work? Typically around 9:30 or 10 a.m. And hello, Zovint. Welcome. And thanks for the follow, BL. In C, just cast the character as int a. Yeah, that's a good point. So in JavaScript, you can't actually do that. JavaScript does not have casting. There are some built-in functions for converting values directly. Like there's a function to directly convert a string to a number, or different things like that. But there is no really no way to cast a value in JavaScript. All right. Oh yeah, and I'll send this URL. This is just a code pin that that Alka made. I'll send you this. New text encoder.encode. Oh, let's look it up. Wow. Returns a newly created UTF text encoder object. That is awesome, Doc. Thanks for that. We'll do it that way too. So right now, I'm just going to write out a list of all the ways we can do this in JavaScript, and we're going to do it every possible way. So one way, and let's actually just go ahead and try to start coding this thing, is my MacBook hot at 180 degrees Fahrenheit? Nope, it's totally fine. It really doesn't get hotter until around 200. Okay, so if you think about this, so we're given one character, like capital A, and we need to return the ASCII code 65. If we look back at the ASCII table here, and we look at capital A, that maps to the decimal number 65. If we're past a space, we need to return the number 32. If we look that up, a space is the number 32. So if in the very simplest sense, if you know nothing else about programming, you could really just solve this with a bunch of if-else statements, right? So I can say if character is equal to A, then we're going to return 65. And then I can do another check. If the character is equal to a space, then I'm going to return 66, or no, 32. Or if the character is equal to an exclamation mark, return 33. Right? Now, this would be a whole lot of if statements if I wanted to fill up this entire table and account for every possible value, right? But we could do that. The program would still technically work. And for these 3 test cases, let's go ahead and run the code. So when I run the code, it works. So when we pass it A, we get back 65. When we pass it space, we get back 32. Quacka. And when you pass it exclamation mark, you get back 33. So it works. And this is totally doable, but it would just take a whole lot of code, right? And one thing to note is that they are sequential. So if I do capital B, that actually is 66. And then if I do capital C, that actually is 67. But I could go through and look at every single value here, 65, 66, 67, right? I'm not going to do that because I don't feel like typing that much. You could write every possible if statement, ... So it's possible. We're not going to do it that way. Another way to do it instead of a bunch of if statements is, yeah, Buggy has it, a hash map. So instead of just a bunch of ifs, we can set ourselves up with essentially a dictionary that has the mapping for us, and then we just reach into that dictionary to grab the value. So we'll set up our map like so. And we can really just call it a mapping, right? Because this is a mapping that's going to take us from a character to a value. So if you give it A, it'll give us back 65. If you give it B, it'll give us back 66. If you give it C, it'll give us back 67. If you give it a space, it's going to give us back 32. If you give it an exclamation mark, it's going to give us back 33, right? So this is our mapping. And then again, we could fill up every possible value inside of our mapping. A bunch of if statements. Oh, you're using artificial intelligence. Yes, this is my very complex and what's the word? State-of-the-art ASCII code converter. It's just a bunch of if statements. Cool. So, but now that I have this mapping, in JavaScript, you can just reach into this object and say, hey, give me the value for A, or give me the value for space. And the way to do that is with bracket notation. So I could just say return mapping at that character, like that. So I say mapping brackets, and then I pass in the property that I want from this object. In this case, C is either going to be A or space or exclamation mark. So we're going to get back those same values. Convoluted was the word, not state-of-the-art, high-tech. Yeah, so this is another way, and this is a little bit cleaner, right? Instead of having to write a bunch of if statements and return statements, we could use Mechanical Turk for this. Yeah, we could pay people like 2 cents if we give them a character and they give us back the ASCII code. That's one way to solve it, definitely. Cool, but again, this works, and this is a little bit cleaner because you have your mapping here, and then the code is simple. You just say, hey, give me the ASCII code for that value, and that works. And then I'll show you the built-in way of doing it, and the thing is, probably under the hood, the people that write these JavaScript engines might have some code that looks like this. It might be better than this. Maybe there's some magic that I don't know about, but it's probably going to look very similar to this under the hood, but the function is built into JavaScript. So I'll show that to you. So we get the character, and in JavaScript, every string has a lot of different functions built into it. And this variable C is a string, right? Because whenever we call the function, we're passing in a string, and we can actually just return c.charCode at 0. So charCode at is a function that's built into every string, and we can call it on any string, and then you pass it the indice. In this case, our string is always going to be length 1, so we just pass in 0, and it works. And this is all the code we had to write. Now, but you best believe that under the hood, this charCode at function is doing something very similar. They have some sort of mapping from characters to codes, and it has to do that lookup. But for us, we just can call this function, and it works. I think another one is CodePoint at. Let's look it up. CodePoint. It doesn't do a lookup, Keith says. So it's most likely that it's stored in a particular way under the hood. String.fromCodePoint. So hello in memory actually stores the ASCII codes because they're, I guess, bytes. No, not bytes. Are they integers? How many ASCII codes are there possibly? 127? Is that it? There's got to be more, right? Oh no, so ASCII, and then there's extended ASCII, so it goes all the way up to 255. So you could store that in a byte. Okay. Oh no, from code point is the opposite. Code point takes in a value and will return a string. There's single bytes in both ASCII and UTF-8. Cool. Do code Katas have the fetch API? They do not, no. Let's see if I missed anything else. Key code. There are 256 characters. Okay. So if we did do this by hand and we didn't use this CharCode at function, we would basically have a mapping of 256 entries of all possible entries, or we have a bunch of if statements, 256 possible if statements. Let's see. Oh, I think David had something. String.charcode. Yeah, so charcode at is built in and we could use that one. I'm curious if there's another. Does anyone know if there's another function in JavaScript that'll give us back the ASCII code? And thanks for the follow, Edward Snowden. Keith is saying, under the hood, the character is a number, so it's easy to convert. And it's already stored as an ASCII number. Okay, so I think that's similar to what Doc was saying, is that in memory, strings are just an array of characters. Characters are just the corresponding ASCII codes. So instead of having to do a lookup, it literally just looks at the value in memory of that character, which is the ASCII code. That makes sense. What do I think is the best CSS length unit? In most cases, rem. Because it's always relative to the root element, and then you can do interesting things based on that, like change the size of the root element based on the device size and things like that. What if I pass in a number? It will break because, well, actually, no. It won't break because there is an ASCII code for numbers. Where are they at? Here. So, 0 is 48, and it goes all the way up to 9. But there's multiple things here. If you pass in a number to this implementation, it's going to throw an error that charcode at doesn't exist on a number, right? So this particular function, charcode at, this only exists on strings. So if I say charcode at 0, the value for lowercase h is 104. But if I have like a number and I try to say charcode at 0, this is not going to work because numbers don't have the charcode at function. Only strings have the charcode at function. However, if I passed in a number that's inside of a string, this will work, but this is actually just going to give us back the character code of the number 1, which is 49. Let's look at the ASCII table. 1, 49. It works. So you can't get the character code of a number in JavaScript, but you can get the character code of a number inside of a string. UTF-8 array returned by text encoder is a view into the existing string bytes without a conversion. Ooh, let's do it. Don't I need if statements or a dictionary? Can I do a mod? Oh, like modulo of the string? Yeah, we're gonna try the last thing we're gonna try is the text encoder here, which seems pretty cool. What would be a good use case for a map in JavaScript instead of an object? You can ask Doc. I think Doc really likes maps in JavaScript. If you're using TypeScript, maps make a lot of sense because you can type them. You can say that all the keys in this map are of a particular type and map to a certain value. And I guess, okay, so here's the use case. If you don't want to have string lookups. So when you're using an object in JavaScript, these are all basically considered strings, but I believe a map will let you map things that aren't strings to other things. And thanks for the follow, JP Chateau. Mosm is the superior US unit. CM Griffin with the raid. What's up? Welcome, everyone. I'm 2 minutes behind on chat. Give me two minutes. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'll make it there in 2 minutes, but I'll catch up soon. What screen resolution do I use? It's 1920 by 1080. Could I also append C to an empty string and it would coerce it to a string? Yes. So if you're trying to convert a number to a string, yeah, you could say 104 plus the empty string, and then we take that whole thing and call CharCode at, and that technically would give us back 49 because we're converting the number to a string. Stay beautiful. Thank you, the Arminian. All right, we'll look at this in a second, HappyPhone. String.codePointAt is kind of like an extended because it returns the Unicode number of the string, which is the same as ASCII for alphanumeric characters. Okay. Oh, it might have been a Rust thing? Okay. Application context of context-free... Can I show the application of context-free grammar? I don't really know what you're talking about there, Buggy. And welcome, Raiders! So you have arrived at the coding garden. Tonight is Code Wars Code Katas. So we solve code katas. If you go to codewars.com, it's basically just different coding challenges. And this is a show that I do regularly, usually on Wednesdays. This is episode 42. All the katas we've solved in past episodes are uploaded to GitHub. And I do take suggestions. So if you have a particularly hard kata that you'd like me to take a look at, you can open an issue. And today we're looking at fairly simple katas, but we're trying to break them down and explain them in multiple ways. The one we're working on right now is called get the ASCII value of a character. So you're given a character, and you need to return the ASCII value. And we just talked about there are a lot of ways to do it. You could write a bunch of if statements. That would be very cumbersome. You could create a mapping, like a lookup object. That also would be fairly cumbersome. And then JavaScript has a built-in function, which is a lot easier because it's built in. And what we're about to do is explore this text encoder, which I've never seen before, but I think it's a way of getting ASCII. It would allow you to get ASCII values from a string. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Maps don't have issues with magic values. That's another good point. So someone asked earlier, when would you use the map object in JavaScript? Map. Versus an object. And there are some nasty things that can be done to your application if you're doing lookups on an object like this. Because if this value that gets passed in is something that might belong to the prototype, it could potentially access things that it shouldn't be allowed to access. But with a map, you can only access the things that have keys inside of that map. With better performance on deletions and frequently changing properties. Oh, I tried to copy your link, HappyPhone, but I think I copied another link in between that. But we'll get to it. Oh, see you later, Imphy. Thanks for hanging out. Hey, yeah, that's my tutorial. Welcome, man. Welcome, Raiders. I like Node version 6 the most. Yeah, we did it 0 indexed. Have a look at the debugger output of a new text encoder encoding hello. Okay. Yeah, so they are community created. That's the one thing about them is you might find some code katas that don't have the best instructions, and it's because they are community contributed. However, you can sort by most completed, and then you're most likely to find ones that other people have actually finished, so you know that they have good tests and a good description of the problem. The other thing is you can do it in pretty much any language. They have a ton of languages. I typically do it in JavaScript, and they range in difficulty. So 8Q is the easiest, and 1Q is the hardest. I copied another. Yeah, I got it back. Exactly. So this is basically like command injection, because we could pass in a value to this function called toString, and it would call toString on the object itself, which could potentially leak sensitive information. I'd rather disagree to highest order ever thought of by the... Thanks for the follow, Tree. Yeah, Doc has some great insights. Yeah, and so instead of doing lookups like this, you typically want to say, like, if... well, one thing you could do is you could say mapping dot has own property, because this looks at the, I believe only the iterable properties, but the way people typically do it in production is you say object dot prototype dot has own property, and then you pass in the this value, in this case, which is going to be the mapping, and we're looking at C. So we would add a guard like this. So if mapping has a property C, we're going to return it. Otherwise, like throw an error or something like that. So this is how you would do it with objects if you don't want to use a map. And this is a safety because potentially has own property could be modified on mapping itself. And so this makes sure that we're actually calling the original has own property function. It would be better if you just used TypeScript. Possibly. That's a whole other problem, though. Cheers, Leandro. Yep. Talking about eval. And thanks for the follow, Spun. Yeah, object.keys, that's another way to do it because object.keys are the iterable keys, which is very similar to like has own property. Okay, we're not going to do that though. This is a very simple problem. We don't have to do that. But first, let's look at this link that, was it HappyPhone? Yeah, HappyPhone made a game that, wait, just a second. Need to mute that. Oh, I know, I want to look at HappyPhone's game. How does it work? Oh, is it anybody that goes there, you see their mouse moving? Is that what it is? I don't know what it does. Let's see, are there any errors in the console? Oh, there's errors. Failed to execute draw image. Clever malware injection. Yeah, there's errors everywhere. What'd you do to me, HappyPhone? Okay, let's do this text encoder thing. Let me get that that text that doc sent. Have a look at this output. Let's see. And thanks for the follow, Arb. Wow, that's awesome. So text encoder will encode a string, but it gives us back a uint8 array, which is a typed array. And you can see that it's giving us back the code point values, right? It's giving us back 104, 101. And if we look in the ASCII table, lowercase h actually does map to 104. So this is another way of doing it. I don't think we need these parentheses, though. We can't just do it like this. Yeah. So in our code, we could just pass in C and then get back the 0th index. Or like if we're looking for capital A, and that gives us back 65. Cool. So if we write the function one more time, the game broke. It could have been other people that clicked on the game. So this does it. So a text encoder, you pass it a string, and that actually will encode it into a typed array of UTF-8 values, which are ASCII values, and then we just grab the first one in that. It's an online multiplayer game. All right, well, let me know when it's fixed, and I'll try to take a look. My stream setup is messing with it. Cheers, Timoti. Welcome. Can't one fake mapping.prototype.hasownProperty? Not mapping. So technically, yes, you could have overwritten object.prototype.hasownProperty. But it's unlikely. And if you're worried about that, you could just use a map. Yeah, I think so. Acid Spark, I think typically the harder katas, they will have more checks like that. So when you're dealing with like an 8Q like this, they don't really throw bad input at you, or anything like that. It's typically very nice because it's just very simple. But yeah, once you get the harder ones, might actually make you do some checking and stuff like that. If you do !theme, you can get a link, but it's called Just Black. Let's take a break. I'm gonna take a sip of my electrolytes. Oh, they're invisible electrolytes. I totally forgot. They're blue. Hello, Merit-chan. Welcome. Look, I'll show you on this camera. See, it's blue. Blue electrolytes. Hey, Jake, we're working on Code Wars. Go to codewars.com. You can see the ones we're working on. A text encoder is returning UTF-8, which is the same as ASCII for values less than 128. If you see a value greater than 128, that's actually the start of a multi-byte character, which is how UTF-8 can encode emojis. That's amazing. Yeah, so check it. Because right now, if we pass in the string hello, everything's below 128 because it's technically an ASCII value. But if we pass in, and actually let's not even get the array, let's encode a seedling. Look at that. The seedling is actually made up of 4 characters. It's the combination of 4 characters. And all of these are greater than 128. Multi-byte characters. That's super cool. Invisible water. It's Powerade. I think these are red switches, but I just bought the keyboard it came with them. I didn't really switch them out or anything. I haven't really worked with PHP. Try again. That's too many errors. There's thousands of errors. Seedling.codepoint@. Wow. And this gives us back a really big number. And I guess that's the code point of these multi-bytes, because this is each individual byte of it, I guess. Never heard of terminus. Yeah. Okay. But I think we've solved this one. So we showed you could write a bunch of if statements. You could create your own mapping. This is probably the way that I would solve it, is just to use the built-in JavaScript function. And then this is a little bit more advanced because you can do a lot more things with it using this text encoder. But this is the one I'm going to submit on Code Wars. Yeah, Code Wars is free. You can get Code Wars Red, which will run your code at a higher priority. But it is free to use. The waffle board. If you look in the Twitch description, there's a description of the LED command and the connect for command. But this is the LED command. We can do this. Yeah, Shaggy did it. If you do LED followed by 8 bits, it'll turn on the corresponding bit. Like that. Why isn't it submit? Oh, there we go. Took a while to submit. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, Kiss My Pixels is saying the encoder things are really useful if you're doing encryption, like Huffman or Shannon. But yeah, you could do encryption in the web browser with JavaScript using things like that. Apple fanboy, yes it will. Right at this exact same URL, when the live stream is over, you can watch it here as well. Why do I pass 0 in the return statement? Let's look at it. Right here. So the value that we're getting here, C, is actually a string with a single character inside of it. So it's either like A, or a string with space in it, or a string with exclamation mark, or any other string that you pass into it. And so this is technically a string of a single character, and we want to get the character code at the 0th index, which is, there is only one index, 0, of that character. And so we pass 0 in there, which gives us back the 0th index. This one is very similar. So when we encode this string with this function, it's going to give us back a list or an array of all the character codes, and we want the 0th one, or the first one, in the array. Oh, nice. Depopom is keeping their code katas on GitHub. Can the encoder convert from RGB numbers to RRGGBB? Probably not without math. You'd probably have to do it manually. And thanks for the follow, Ronaldo. Is Code Wars about who can Google the best? It's about just getting better at coding and solving problems. I think Alco was working on a pull request to add animations to the LED, but it didn't happen. Break timer for Windows. I have no idea. I don't use Windows. The 0 is technically optional. Is it? Let's try it. I've never tried it without the 0. And hello, Schmitty. Oh. Look at that. So by default, if you call CharCode at with no parameters, it's going to give you the 0th index. That's interesting. Let's look up the definition. An integer greater than or equal to 0, less than the length of the string. If index is not a number, it defaults to 0. So undefined is not a number, so it's going to give us back 0. Thank you, Schmitty. It's good to know. Yeah. You're right, not blue. Well, I'll try to do a game night this weekend. That's good to know. Yeah. What's better, Bitcoin or Ethereum? I have no idea. This particular live stream, the Katas live stream, is every Wednesday. There are other various, for the most part, every Wednesday. But there are other streams that happen kind of sporadically. Hello, chicken. Yeah, there is. I think there is one. I forget what it's called, but it is built with Electron and it is cross-platform. Stretchly, that's the one. Okay, where were we? We submitted our solution. Let's see how people did it. Cool. So I didn't show this, but in our solution, we're using the function syntax to create our functions, but technically we could create arrow functions as well, especially because these solutions have nothing to do with binding or this, so it's not going to get in our way. So you can use an arrow function in a very similar way. So they use CharCode at, This person wrote out all the if statements, I think. Wait, what? Why are there so many different types of spaces? But yeah, they wrote out all these if statements. That's one way to do it. CharCode at. Oh, this is summing the CharCodes. That's not right. Yeah, holy, yep. But the thing is, like, this is not a bad. I mean, you wouldn't do this in production, but as a programmer that's just learning programming, this is totally fine because the description of the problem gave you a link to this table. So you're like, oh, well, I guess I need to check for every possible value and return that number. That's totally fine. I think it's totally fine. You can call me Kalamazoo Jr. They are control characters. Okay, I'm curious how they found them and like they were able to put them into their code. But that's cool. Space, shifted space. Why would he do that? They're probably new to programming. Oh, cool. And hello, Ziggy. Welcome. The best game engine for beginners. I'm not really sure. I don't really write mini games. I'd do it in production. There you go, Bob. Well, that's the thing. If you're getting paid by a number of lines of code, this is the way to do it for sure. When we push something in an array, why do we put ... items before? That's if you're creating a new array, creating a copy of the array with a new value at the end of it. You typically see that happening in things like React because it doesn't want you to mutate the array. It wants you to create a new array with the value at the end of it instead of just pushing it in. Hey, Flu, what's up? New to programming, but knows to define every character. Yeah, right? Well, it could be. You know what? It could have been, because they have tests, you could potentially log the character that they were testing if the test broke, and then copy and paste that. You never know. You never know. Not someone who's new, someone who thought it'd be funny. Based on their indentation, I think it was somebody that was new. Like, look at this. The if is, like, weirdly spaced. I don't know. Cool. And then this person did it with the ASCII table, and they actually filled it out. Look at that. So they have the table. It's every possible value. And it looks like they did not include like control characters. They just have a space. Cool. All right. Oh. Ah, that's another way to do it. So they created a string that has all of the codes in the right order. So we can see that the ASCII table starts at 0, which is like null. and then goes all the way to like the delete statement. So they created a string with everything in the right order. So if you index into that, or if you get the index of a particular value, it actually corresponds to the ASCII code. That's a cool way to do it. It's not cool. It's an interesting way to do it. I'll say that. And thanks for the follow, Shiram. Can I brief you up about Redux? Like, is it worth studying to use it in my React senior project? Probably, because a lot of companies that do React typically do Redux. Now, a lot of people, or a lot of companies are getting into React hooks and using those instead. And React hooks includes a use reducer hook, so you might not necessarily need need Redux. There's the context API in React, which allows you to get around prop passing, which is, or prop drilling, which is what Redux solved. So I would say like Redux is sort of kind of not as relevant anymore, but at the same time, there are probably still a lot of companies using it. So yes, if you want to be taken seriously, you still technically need to know the concepts in Redux, even if the company is using something else. So I'll say yes, it's worth learning. And I did a video on it, so just search for Coding Garden Redux, and you can see what I have to say about Redux. On the Amiga, file names couldn't be called space im, but they could be called shifted space, like capital space character. It was good to make invisible file names. Ooh, like hidden files. Yeah, I'm writing JavaScript. Cool. Unity is for beginners. I do it because it's fun. Yeah, triple dots is the spread operator. Thank you, Schmitty. Good morning, Nero. For me, it is 9:23 p.m. or 21:23. He wrote a script to write the if statements for him. Yeah. Are closures important to learn in JavaScript? It depends. If you're using React, then probably, because there are scenarios where you typically need to use a closure. So yes, but there are other times when you may not need to use closures at all. I would say if you're going into a JavaScript programming interview, then you absolutely need to know what closures are. But once you get a job, depending on what you're doing, you may not need to know what closures are. Unity for beginners. Okay. Good night, Rachado. Thanks for tuning in. Can I show you the code? Yeah, it's on GitHub. I think I called it 8-bit LED. It has the code for Connect 4 as well. But I'm using a library called Johnny5. Johnny5, and then you can just use Node.js and JavaScript to send commands to the Arduino, and that Arduino is listening to the same chat backend that this overlay is listening to, and the drop game is listening to. They're listening to chats coming in from both Twitch and YouTube. Your statements were generated and copy and pasted. Yeah. Can I talk a bit about ASCII characters? I would say rewind the video, because I definitely did. But essentially, ASCII is an encoding in a format. So every character you see here, capital letter, lowercase letter, numbers, characters, all of those have a corresponding ASCII code. And typically inside of computers, like at the memory level where it's just nothing but numbers, things are actually stored with their ASCII codes. So like the letter A is actually stored as the number 65 in memory. And yeah, it's just an encoding. So what we did was we wrote a program that could take a character and give us back that ASCII code. And thanks for the follow, Tashkim. Array.indexOf is a slow way to do it, right? Because it has to search the entire array. Yep. Oh, using the same table? Cool. HappyPhone is a JavaScript developer that wants to start desktop app development. Should they learn C# or C++, or... I really don't know the state of cross-platform desktop development in terms of C#. Now, if you're building desktop applications for Windows, C# is probably the way to go. I guess there is Qt. This, I think this is it. One framework, one code base, any platform. So I believe this is C++, and you can build desktop applications that are cross-platform. I don't know. You could just keep using JavaScript and use something like Electron or Node WebKit. Or there is libui, which is DuckDuckGo doesn't know about it, but Google knows about it. This is a GUI library written in C that has it's written so that it can run on any operating system. And there have been people that have written wrappers on top of libui to be able to create desktop applications using something like React, but instead of an Electron app, it actually creates a native desktop app. Very similar to like React Native. I think it's called Proton Native. And that uses libui under the hood. React Native for desktop. So that's a thing. And then there's also, I think it's called Vudo? Vudo? Yeah, DuckDuckGo doesn't know about it. Vudo, there it is. A similar thing, but it's with Vue.js instead. So you can write native applications using Vue.js code. So we can look at, like, I don't know, a button. Your code looks like this, but at the end of the day, it actually generates native code that shows a button on the screen. Why is Vue my favorite framework? Because it's less code, less convoluted than a lot of the other things out there, and a million other reasons. And what am I doing? I don't know what you mean. I have not done a stream on Next.js. Albert says C# all the way. C++ is more for game engines, from what I know. The problem with hooks is that I can't know when to use functional components so that I can use state. My question is, why use functional components with hooks? What's the problem with just using a class component? It's really all about style. I will say it's possible to do anything with just hooks and no class components. I have an application that at work that we're going to be launching in about 2 weeks, and it probably has over 60 components, and every single one is a functional component that uses hooks. That said, it really is a style choice. And what I like about it is when you're dealing with class components, a lot of the times, like when you get into more tricky scenarios of trying to control when the component updates or managing its state, you have to start tapping into functions like component did mount, component did update, different things like that. And hooks make it a lot easier because you essentially just define a dependency array. And when anything in that array changes, the hook automatically runs. So for me, that's a lot easier to think about than having to define a component did update and compare props to decide if I should update state based on the updates. So I don't know. Are there any good MVC frameworks in Node? And while we're at it, what about REST? Sales is probably the most popular one. This is turning into a Q&A stream. We need to be solving Katas. But check out Sales.js. It is a real-time MVC framework. It's actually built on top of Express, but it has a lot of things built in. And they have a really cool ORM called Waterline. I don't know. Yeah, Waterline ORM. I haven't used it, but it looks really cool. It looks cooler than like Sequelize or some of the other ORMs that are out there. And then a REST framework. I mean, there is like HappyJS, and there's also Koa, but I don't know how much more they have built in than just Express, or if they're very similar in that they're a bit of a micro framework. But HappyJS is one of them, or Koa is another one. Not the camping site. The next generation web framework. So you can look into those, and also Feathers.js, which I like, but it's kind of flips REST on its head because you build services and they're just exposed as REST, but you're not really thinking about like REST. Yeah, that's a good one. The LED command should allow decimal numbers. We've talked about that. Yeah, I used to do WPF development. Um, I don't know if it's still relevant, but I mean, I guess it would be. Didn't they like sunlight WinForms? I don't know. Codewars.com. What's up? Nate. Nate. Welcome. What's up, beer? I've talked about Svelte before. If you search Coding Garden Svelte, you can see what I've done. I've really just done a basic app and like learned the basics. It's pretty cool. 2 cents about Svelte. They're ahead of their time. I'll say that. So I think in the future, most front-end frameworks will be doing things very similar to Svelte. The virtual DOM was cool. It was better than what we were doing before. But at the end of the day, when you have code that gets generated, like with Svelte, you don't really need a virtual DOM. And at the end of the day, that's less code. There's no framework code. Updates are faster. So yeah, I think it's cool. I think the underlying ideas of Svelte are very cool. And Svelte itself, they did a really good job of creating a website that gets straight into the point of how to get up and running really quickly with Svelte, which a lot of other frameworks didn't do at the beginning. So yeah, Svelte, they have great docs. It's very interesting. My only trepidation about any of this in terms of Svelte is that it hasn't been around for a very long time, so there isn't a large community around it like there is with Vue or React or even Angular. So you might run into issues that no one's solved before or talked about on the internet before. But it's cool. I would say the things that I don't like about it are the fact that it uses blocks like this, like an if block rather than a directive like Vue, or an each block rather than like a v-for like in Vue. If you looked at Svelte 1.0, it looked so similar to Vue.js. Like if you looked at a Svelte 1.0 program, you almost couldn't tell the difference between that and the Vue.js program. But with Svelte 2, which is the new popular one that blew up and everybody was talking about, that introduced newer syntax. Like there's no longer a data object, you just have a script. But if I had one complaint about Svelte, it's that you've already written a compiler. Why do we have to use these blocks like this? Why can't we just have directives like we do in Vue.js? Because it's a compiler. It can generate whatever it wants. I don't know, but it's cool. Oh, you're welcome, Marks. Hooks have some overhead. My app seems to work. I love my functional components. I never use class components because I think the code for them is ugly. Yeah, the thing that I don't like about class components in React is it just goes against the idea of immutability and functional programming that is React itself. Yeah, so like you're mixing OOP with these functional concepts, and that's just weird. I work at a software consultancy here in Denver. See ya, HappyPhone. Use ref and use memo. Yeah, those make things a whole lot easier than with class components as well. So use ref allows you to create a ref to a component, or sorry, like an element on the page, and use memo will memoize a function. But the hooks now have use callback, which does that as well. All right, we're gonna get to the katas. Coding garden, not Q&A garden. All right. Yeah, .NET Core with C# for sure, but I don't know if they do desktop. Remember Silverlight? I do remember Silverlight. Can I send a JSON file to a client side and save in the browser? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Aram, but seems possible. Welcome, Dewash. So many frameworks and libraries. Thoughts on Flutter? It's cool. It's cool. I'll say that. After the Rickrolls, yeah. Okay. All right, let's get to another kata. So that was fun. We're going to go to another one that was submitted by Depopam, which is expressions matter. Oh, and let me make sure to not forget to link this. in the README. Okay, next one. Expressions matter. So given 3 integers, a, b, and c, return the largest number obtained after inserting the following operators in brackets: plus, multiplication, and parentheses. Do not forget to link this recognition. The VS Code theme is called Just Black. If you do exclamation mark theme, you can get a link to it. So in other words, try every combination of a, b, and c with multiplication, addition, in parentheses, and return the maximum value obtained. So with the numbers 1, 2, and 3, here are some of the ways of placing signs in brackets. Okay. So the maximum possible value is 9. Is this all possible ways? Because if it is, I think that's just maybe how we'll solve it, is we'll compute every one and then choose the largest. You cannot swap operands. For instance, in the given example, you cannot get the expression 1 plus 3 times 2. Okay, so the operands are always ABC. All right, this seems doable. Sounds fun. And then the value is, yes, it's between 1 and 10. The value is never abstract syntax trees. The value is never less than 1 or greater than 10. What's on Twitch, Remy? I don't know what you meant or what you said, but I am streaming on both Twitch and YouTube right now. Okay, let's do this one. Won't multiplication always win? Probably. But in this case, it's a combination of addition and multiplication, but with parentheses. That's what wins in that case. Oh, okay. Maybe like it should work on YouTube. The YouTube bot might be broken. Send a request to the server response file JSON like a JS file. Yeah, you can just directly request a JSON file. You would need to pass it into json.parse, depending on how you requested it. But you could make the request for the JSON file, and then there is json.parse. Pass in the string that you got back, and that will give you an actual JavaScript object. That might be what you're asking about. So I'll tell you what I'm thinking on this one. In the description, they provide every possible combination, I believe. So what I would do is just copy what they have from their description, and those are all of our possible values. There's probably a way of generating all possible additions and multiplications. And I think that's where Doc was mentioning abstract syntax tree. Yeah, and so that's what Doc's saying. There's a fixed number of combinations. You can just write them all out and get the max. And I think this is the... is this all possible combinations? It says some ways, but it does say that the answer is 9. Okay, but... yeah, exactly. So calculate them all and then get back the max. I think that's what I'm going to do, but we'll see. There are some. 1 plus... okay, you're right. So, but I think here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to solve it that way first, and then maybe we can figure out a way to do all possible combinations automatically to see what's better. Yeah, exactly. So Anthony is saying find the max of all possible combinations, but there are more than just that, I believe. Or are there? Combinatorials. Let's take a stretch. A times B plus C is a waste of parentheses. I guess that's a good point. When you're multiplying two things, you actually don't need parentheses on them. Yeah. Okay. What if I add D and E and F? Yeah, then it gets hard. There's a lot of combinations. All right. So, and then I guess we do have our test down here. Let's just bring these in. I'm gonna write my own describe function, just so I don't have to get rid of it. Yeah, like that. Okay, so if we start up Quokka, hopefully, yeah. So we these functions are running. So when we pass in 2, 1, and 2, we should get back 6. Right now we're getting back undefined because our function is returning nothing. I'm going to write out every possible combination. Parentheses. Okay, so but we always have A, B, and C. Answer 1 is going to be A times B plus C, like that. Answer 2 is going to be A times B times C. Answer 3 is going to be A plus B times C. Answer 4 is going to be A plus B in parentheses. So add A and B first and then multiply it times C. Okay, there are probably some other combinations. But now that we have all these possible answers, we just need to return the max one. There are 4 ways to arrange the operators, 2 ways to group the numbers, so 8 possible combinations. Maybe my numbers might be wrong. If your numbers are right, there might be scenarios where 2 of the equations are exactly the same, like because of parentheses or because of multiplication. Like, so this is one combination, but this is technically another one, but it's exactly the same. So that's one more. And then technically this is another one, but that's exactly the same. So that's 2 right there that we don't need. Do we have A times B plus C? I don't think we do. Answer 5 is A times B plus C. Yeah, we don't have that because we have B plus C times A. There are probably others. I don't know if there's a systematic way. Oh yeah, and then we need A plus B plus C. So what would be a systematic way of actually writing all of these out and making sure that I get all of them? Answer 3 is not optimal. B times C plus A will basically never be bigger than A plus B times C. Is that what we're saying? And thanks for the follow, Major Gamer Geek. Four is always greater than 3. So what we're saying is, we'll add a comment. This will never be greater than 4. And I guess that's because we're always getting positive numbers. If these were negative numbers, would that change? Yeah, push them into an array and return the max. Yeah. Standard dictionary structure for React and Redux and Node. Not sure what you mean by that. A plus B plus C. All right, we have all of them. So we've typed out all of them, and also eval A operator, B operator, C operator. Operator. Yes. Yes. I think we could do it away with we could write it, we could generate it without having to do eval. But But this is good. This is all we need. We've literally written out all possible combinations, so now we just need to find the max. A really eval is evil, says Mr. Darkside. But a really easy way to do that is just to say math.max. And you can, it typically wants multiple values, like answer 1, answer 2, answer 3, answer 4, answer 5. Like that. What happened to the 3 though? Wait, what? I got rid of it. Wasn't I supposed to get rid of it? Answer 5 will always be less than answer 1. That's true. So we don't even need answer 5. Gone. All right, let's check our answers. No. It will not. Think of the case of 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1. 1 times 1 plus 1 is not greater than 1 plus 1 plus 1. Yeah. Answer 4? The one that I got rid of? Or are you saying we don't? I don't know. I'm gonna check I'll check all of our work though. So this is good, this is good, that one's good. This one's good, that 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 one's good. Good, 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 good. Yeah, I mean all of our tests here are passing. If the one that I removed was valid earlier. Which one did I remove? A times B plus C, right? No, that's this one. A plus B times C. Like that. Yeah, we'll leave it. Because there might be a scenario that we didn't account for. Can we return which answers were the ones, though? Yes. If it works, don't change it. The case where b equals 0. But in this particular problem, all values are between 1 and 10. They made it super easy for us. Is there a less brute forcey way? I think so. I don't know if I want to take the time to do it. But I think we can figure it out. So if a plus b times c is less than a plus b times c, then similarly, a times b plus c is less than a times b plus c. Which means we don't need this one or this one. No, that breaks it for some cases. In the general case, you have to evaluate all of those 6 expressions to know which is the largest because they're all unique functions. I was just thinking we could... Okay, so this is one way to do it. Math.max is built into JavaScript. You just pass it a bunch of numbers, and it's going to give you back the max possible one. I want to start to think about how can we generate these calculations. Like, I'm thinking if I have a function add that takes in a and b and returns... well, let's not use a and b. Let's use, like, x and y. And that returns x plus y. And then we also have a function multiply that takes in x and y and gives us back x times y. Great. And then we have a function like add function that takes in like x and some other function that needs to be evaluated. And adds them together or multiplies them together? I don't know. I Think the edge case of 1, make it so you need answer 4. Okay. And thank you, Suraj. Thanks for dropping by. And thanks for the follow, DevBy. Message retracted. The question is asking for an algorithm that defines all possible combinations. Yeah. And hello, Subit. Abstract syntax tree, which is essentially what you're writing out there. And this is the tiny 3-pass compiler thing that we were trying to do last time. Oh, because before I used that logic to remove 1. Yeah. I think that's why I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. I don't know if there is a standard directory structure. I don't know if there's any one by name. I learned from like my Angular days of folder by feature, feature by folder, and I try to do that in my React apps as well. But it's just JavaScript at the end of the day. Imports, exports, you can put things anywhere you want. I also prefer, if I'm using Redux, that I use a pattern called ducks, like DUCKS, ducks, where your action types, your action creators, and your reducer are all in the same file instead of being in separate files. But it's really just a preference. Shouldn't there be an arrow? Yes, there should. Thank you. Nice. And thanks for the follow, Narc. 13 for... Yeah, they were supposed to be arrow functions. I was missing that. Yeah, we did it, Bhutan. Nicely segue into finishing it off. Yeah. YouTube, it is your turn to play Connect 4, so whenever you're ready. Oh no. I didn't mean to do that. I'm like trying to click on this computer over here. Just give me a second. There we go. Oh no. How do we do this? Okay, so we have add and multiply. And we want to generate every possible combination of like... So let's figure out... You have 2 choices, plus or multiplication, and parentheses or no parentheses. Okay. I'm just trying to think, if we manually convert this, then this actually becomes like A times add of B and C. And this becomes A times multiply B and C. And this becomes A plus multiply of B and C. And this becomes add of A and B times C. And this becomes multiply of A, multiply of A and B, add C, and this becomes add of A and B plus C. So, wait, what did I do wrong? We're getting back NAND. Comma, thank you. There we go, and this works. So, of course, I wouldn't want to have to write this all out manually. So I'm just trying to see if I notice a pattern that we could basically like generate these calculations in like an array. I think Schmitty had something. I'll take a look at that. My invisible beverage. So, yeah, technically instead of doing this multiply, we could actually use the multiply function. So one thing that I like about the way that I've written this out is A is by itself, and then we have add and multiply. I mean, and technically we could write out the other ones that we always know are going to be less than anyways because we're generating them. My comment isn't entirely relevant. I think it sort of is though. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, I like the fact that we have like a some operator and then some function invocation with the B and C, and then these are some function invocation with A and B, and then some operator in C. Yeah, so we're looking for a pattern, and I think if we write out the ones that we're missing, we can probably see that pattern as well. So we're actually missing. Let's get rid of these. We're missing A plus add of B and C, right? I think this is it, right? So A times add of B and C, A plus add of B and C, A plus multiply of B and C, and A times multiply of B and C. So those are all possible combinations with A. And then similarly, we have, oh, sorry. let's rename these. 2, 3, 4. And then similarly, we would have the opposite. So 5 would be add A and B times C. And then we also need this one, which is add A and B, add C. And this one is multiply A and B, add C. And then we also need multiply A and B, multiply C. So these are all 8 possible combinations. Tuk. Yeah, so take 2 operands and return 4 options. So I think we can do this, right? I think we can do this. Like, we can generate this. And now, I mean, technically we have 7 different results, but we showed earlier that some of these cancel themselves out because they're always going to be less than, but it's not going to hurt to calculate them. And it looks like our function's still doing good. So, oh, then the last one, A plus B plus C, right? Because, oh, wait. Oh, no, I have it. It's add A and B and C. And then A times B times C is A times multiply B and C. Yeah. There should only be 8. It's basically like we're hiding the fact, but we're hiding that behind a function invocation. Answer 5. Add before multiply because the function add is no problem. Really, we just want all possible combinations. So this will return the addition. But the reason I'm writing it out this way is because I think we can generate this. So what I think we can do is we can say, let answers equal an array. And we want to get all possible answers. And then so this is going to be, yeah, I'm going to write this out with the actual function invocation. This is going to be multiply A and add like that. This is going to be add like that. Right? Yes. I think I'm starting to see the pattern. Basically, we give it 2 functions and 3 variables, and it has to invoke them in every possible way. To start with an a plus b plus c in the array, and then parse each item in the array to generate the next possible item. I don't want to do any evals, though. That's why I'm doing this. Okay. So there are 2 groups of 4 functions that look like f times a, g times b of c, and f times f of g of a of f g of a of b and c, right? And then those 4 functions are just all possible combinations of add and multiply, right? Yawn. Yeah, I mean technically I don't need to do this, especially for a problem like this where there's only 8 possible combinations, but I think we can. I think we can do it. So I have my functions, which are going to be add and multiply, like that. I think I have to compare ASCII values to develop the pattern. And good morning, you get from Turkey. Welcome. Okay, if I separate them out into the 2 groups where the inner function is on the first versus the second parameter. Okay, so these are the 2 groups. This is group 1, where first parameter is just a, and the second parameter is invoke that function. Yeah, here we go. Multiply with add multiply, add with add multiply. Like that. That looks like a pattern, doesn't it? That's a lot of work just for an 8 queue. Yeah, because I think for this queue, this was enough. We were done there, but we're trying to take it a step further. Yeah. So I'm going to say answers is an array. And then, yeah, I think I need my functions. And that's an array of add and multiply. So it's like this. And then if we say functions.forEach, function, I guess is it, wait. You're probably right, use all the things. So we got rid of a few of the ones up here. Multiplying A, B, and then adding C. Yeah, you're probably right, but what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to just recognize the pattern so that I can generate these, and then it doesn't really matter if we calculate it anyways because it's always going to be lowest. Let's do Clash of Code after I figure this out. Am I going to figure this out? Do we want to take bets if I'm even going to be able to figure this out? Oh no, I've got it. Okay, I've got it. Functions.forEach. That's going to give us a function. And then inside of here, we'll also say functions. We're going to say, yeah, functions.forEach again. And that's going to give us function 2. Let's call it function 1 and function 2. And we want to, into the answers array, we're going to push the function invocation of 1 with A and the function invocation of 2 with B and C. Like that. If we just log our answers. Five, 4, 6, 4. Cool. So I think we've done it. And then so this function, I mean, sorry, this loop here calculates the same thing as these 4. So it does function 1 with A and function 2 with B and C twice, and then function 2 with A. Yeah, this is the one. We've done it. And then we just need the other scenario so we can do it again. And actually, we don't even have to do another loop. We could actually just say function 1 with function 2 of A and B with C. Like that. And this is all possible answers. And then we return math.max of all those answers. Hey, look at that. So let's see if we got it right. 664433995588. 2020. Yeah, look at us. We've done it. So let's see. If A is 1 or 0 and C is greater than 1. Okay, so this is the scenarios of where we would get rid of a certain function because it doesn't matter. But in our case, we always know that A, B, and C are between the values of 1 and 10. We need a loop. Hello, Dersh. Welcome. So there's 2 things going on here. All combinations of functions and operators, and then you're mapping them onto all possible expression trees, which happens to be 2. Yes. So for this case, it's only 3 operands and 2 operations. But if it gets bigger, then it does look clean. We did it! Let's do it with an unknown number of arguments. Yeah, that's where it gets tricky. But I think we technically could do it like this. This part here we would have to probably generate instead of writing out manually. But it'd be similar, I think. I believe you could also switch A and C for second. BA. Does that result in a different value property? But the main thing about the problem description is that the equation was always written ABC. So I don't know if you'd want to switch around the operands. Next level, it needs some more for each. All right, I like this. This is cool. I'm going to submit this answer. And then we'll play Clash of Code, because that's always fun. Nice. Attempt. Though I'm just trying to think, like, could we have written it with a reduce? We sort of could have done it with, like, a map. Arrow functions. Yes. Hey, Shaggy. Cool. I could write it with an unreduce. Yeah, and so this person just literally passed those expressions into math.max, and that gives us the biggest one. Where did I declare function 1 and function 2? I didn't declare them, but those are technically the functions that are inside of this array, add and multiply. And when we call for each, it becomes either function 1 or function 2. Do I know Ericto? No, I don't. Yeah, it seems like everyone's doing it in a very similar way. Interesting. They figured out certain scenarios of what the values are. A reduce or fold is where you take a list or tree or thing and reduce it to a single value. You're doing the exact opposite, building a tree out of stuff. Here's my attempt that uses eval. Yeah, that's the one thing I didn't want to do because, I mean, technically you could generate all possible equations like in string format and then just eval them. I wanted to try and do it in like a more functional way. But yeah, let's see what Merchan did. Can A, B, or C equal 0? No. So for this problem, A, B, and C were always between 1 and 10. It's similar, but instead of having functions, we're using eval. So eval will take in a string and evaluate that string as a JavaScript expression. So we have our operations, plus and multiplication. This seems to be very similar to what we were doing here, like add and multiply. And I guess actually, so I see one thing that Merchan just did. I want to do it in my solution. So what we were doing is we calculated all possible answers, and then we called math.max to get the max one at the end. But we could technically just store the highest at the beginning. And then we'll say like answer1 equals that. And if answer1 is greater than highest, then highest equals answer1. Yes, I'm saying answer. Then we have answer 2. And if answer 2 is greater than highest, highest equals answer 2. Like that. And then at the end of it all, we just need to return highest. It saves us the extra step of like finding the maximum value in an array of values. We're just finding the highest as we go along. It should still work. Yeah. Cool. But that's what Merchan is doing. So what is my rank? Let's see. 1647. It seems like it's not going up. I don't know. I'm lacking on how to decide which part to make components in Angular in web. It's really up to you. If it makes sense that a certain part of your application is going to be reused, it might make sense to put it into a component. If it seems like it would clean up the code to take that section and put it into its own component, it might need to be its own component. Boo this man. Highest equals math.max. Yeah, so we actually could just it simplifies it way easier, doesn't it? So you could just say highest equals math.max. I'm gonna do this as a new one. Yep. So for the LED and the LED matrix and the circuitry, they're controlled by chat. So someone in chat, can you show the LED command? If you do exclamation mark LED followed by 8 zeros or ones, it'll turn the corresponding red LED on or off. Someone on YouTube, do it so they can see it happen. Highest equals math.max of highest answer 1, answer 2, like that. And then we don't need this. Cool. And then the other thing is connect for, and it's Twitch versus YouTube. So the blue dots are Twitch, the red dots are YouTube. And to play the connect for game, you do exclamation mark C4 followed by a column 0 through 7. And it looks like, yeah, no one's super close to winning. It's kind of hard to differentiate the blues and the reds, but they're there. I haven't really done leak code. I think I looked at it once and it made me mad, so I haven't really come back there. All right, let's see what Merchan is doing. So we're evaluating A operation 1. Yeah, it's very similar to what we were doing, but instead of function invocation, we're just evaling with the operators plus and multiplication. It's very cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Hello, Really Cygnus, and hello, Sylphevin. Man, I love the way you teach. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. What are you doing? Okay, we're done with Katas for today. Let's play a coding game, because that's always fun. We'll play two rounds of coding game, and then I gotta go. Alka, yes, you'll play. And thank you, Todd. Much appreciated. They made an algorithm to find all possible combinations. Yep. LeetCode 30-day challenge. Add exponentiation and division operators. Yeah, that would get tricky. You still don't get my nested loop. Let's see. The reason being, and did I remove? Oh man, I got rid of it. I should not have deleted my code that wrote all of them out by hand. I should have kept that. Maybe I'll go back and add that later. But basically, if you look at when I wrote out all of the invocations by hand, it was always like add A and then add BC. So the function invocation. And then it's add A, multiply BC. So it was always the two functions in different combinations. So basically what I've done is I have these two functions, add and multiply, and I iterate over them. So function 1, you can think of that like that's going to be add. And then we iterate over all the other functions, which are going to be, actually, is this too much? I don't know. But we iterate over the functions again. And so on the very first iteration or invocation, function 1 is going to be add, and function 2 is going to be add. So it's going to be add with A, and then add with B and C, and then add with add of A and B and C. So it's basically add, then it's add, multiply, then it's multiply, add, or multiply, add, and multiply. And using a new function instead of eval, it's technically the same thing, because it takes a string and turns it into JavaScript code. I need help making a leaderboard. Yeah, I am. I already said it. I'm not going to touch that one queue today, but next time, the final 3-pass compiler showdown. Next time on Code Wars Code Katas with CJ. You could write a recursive function that generates all possible expression trees for in operands in terms of that 3 operand case. Yeah, I guess like my code, if I just add more functions, this part here would get a little bit different. I'd have to write that code out, but technically I could handle more operands or operators. Yeah. Any upcoming tutorials? Not that I know of. Okay, here we go. If you'd like to play along, go to codinggame.com and you can sign in with GitHub. And the first 11 people to click this link get to... I'm going to send it on YouTube first because it's a little delayed there. But the first 11 people to click this link can participate. The challenges vary. Sometimes it's who can complete it the fastest. Sometimes it's who can complete it with the smallest amount of code. Sometimes you're given the output and the input, and you have to guess what code to write based on that. But we'll see. The nested for each would become the Cartesian product. Doc, you know so much. Doc knows a lot of things. Oh, the real Pygon's here. What's up? Here we go. Yes, he does. All right, reverse mode. So this is tricky. You get the input and the output, and you have to write the code that makes it work. So this is the input. Given Alex, a pal. This is what the output is, and given this, it's the same output. So I think this has something to do with the letter A. Yeah, so anytime there's a letter A, we add a P to it. So I'm going to say replace any A, and it's case insensitive. And then replace actually takes a callback function, which is going to give us the value, I believe. And then we want to just return value plus P, I think. Let's see. No, we get back undefined. Is that the value? I need to look up that replace function. I shouldn't help. You can help. A beep, a boop, a boop. I think it's just... Oh, wait, never mind. So we have A, and then that... No, that gets replaced with PA. But if it's capital, it gets replaced with capital. So it's not just getting replaced with P, it replaced with A. Val becomes P-val? Oh, you're right, because there's E as well. Okay. All right, I need to figure out for the regular expression, or sorry, string replace, because string replace does accept a callback function. I don't know what gets passed into it, but that's going to make our lives a whole lot easier. Function. Replacer. So that gives us the match, P1, P2. Okay, so we need groups. We need a group that it matches against. Like this. So match A, E, I, O, U, like that. And then we're going to get the P1 is non-digits, P2 digits. Okay, so that's going to be V plus P. What did we get back? Function. I put this in the wrong place. This function needs to be... Wait, what's happening? Whoa, come on. I can't control my keyboard. But this function needs to be the second argument to the replace function here, like that. So, oh, I need it to be in brackets. A, E, I, O, U. It's not finding it. Alka's already done. Everyone else is already done. I want to figure this out, though. So, let me just run this in the JavaScript console. Get my nested for loop. So if I have apple, well, no, let's not do that because we're getting a P. Orange. So what I want to see, yeah, we could use the string replace. So $1 means the first match. Oh, I'm missing that. That's what I'm missing, huh? A porange. Oh, and I need it to be global. Okay, so I'm really close. So it needs to be global, and we need to put it before and after. There we go. That's our function. There you go. Watch. All of them are just gonna work. There you go. Submit. Fourth place. Not bad. All right. Once you've submitted, click share code, and then we can see what everyone did. Why not do a for loop? This is a one-line challenge. I guess that's true, but my mind immediately went to regular expressions. It's so late. I would compete, but I would just embarrass myself. Oh, it's okay. It's okay to just try. Okay. I also hate regex. Let's see what Alka did. There we go. The simplest way. So, with a regular expression. So the thing that I initially missed were the parentheses, because the parentheses is a matching group, and that's going to allow you to do things like $1. So this is similar to what I was doing, but I was using a callback function, and that callback function basically got the $1 passed as the second parameter. But you don't need the function. You can just directly do the replace like that, which is pretty cool. Why do I? Because you have some... Oh, because you have like potentially HTML code in your message. And hello, Milky. Thanks for the follow. All right, use all the things. Let's see how you did. Here we go. So we have an array of vowels. We split the word into an array. We map it. If that letter is a vowel, we're going to send back that letter surrounded by P, or so that letter with P and then that letter again. Otherwise, we just give back the letter, and then we join it all together on the empty string. Very cool. All right, how did Nerdcan did it with Python? So all of our vowels are stored in a string. For every character in the vowel... Oh, I see. Is this like a tagged function? So we have our like lookup here, this... I guess an object or a dictionary. We're saying the dictionary at that character is this. Let me know, anybody that knows Python, or Nerdcan if you're in the chat. Is this a function? Like a string function? Mirchan, not to brag, but I like my answer a lot. F strings are template strings. Okay, so very similar to like a template string in JavaScript. But basically, we're storing these template string functions in the object so we can just look them up. And then I'm guessing that we're going to look at every character in the string itself. And if that character is in this object, we call that replacer function, trans, and that will replace it with the character P and then the character again. For the most part. I kind of don't understand what's happening here. Sentence.translate? Is this like built-in internationalization? Or is this translate in terms of like a list? How do you translate a list? Look up string.translate for Python. Okay. I mean, you could just tell me. String formatting. So this is outdated syntax. I think the current syntax is... CPC, okay. String translate method. Returns a copy of the string in which all characters have been translated using the given table, constructed with the makeTrans function. Python. So you pass it the table, I see, and then makeTrans makes a table out of this, is it a dictionary, or what do we call this in Python? Just a hash map? So that generates the table, and then translate takes in a table. I'm getting to miss old variables, they're so new to me. It's a dictionary. Okay. Very cool. All right, and then we also have my solution. So instead of using like $1, I'm using this function where like it gets called, invoked, and V is technically like the first match group, which is the thing within the parentheses. All right, let's see how Doc did it. Doc did it with a for loop. So read the sentence in, and we're building up the string that we're going to return. Go from 0 to the end of the sentence. Grab each individual character. And seek a player with the raid! What's up, everyone? Howdy, howdy. Welcome to the show. Let's go. What? So you have arrived at the Coding Garden. Tonight is usually our Code Katas stream, where I solve coding problems on codewars.com. But we finished that up, and right now we're playing Clash of Code. And I'm just going through people's solutions, which is pretty fun. So this particular problem was reverse mode. Basically, you're given a string, and you have to return that string with every vowel replaced with vowel, p, vowel. We're just going through the solutions. Python. But welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. How did your stream go, Sika Player? What were you working on? Let's see. Raids. Hello, Brendan. Hello, the Murloc. What do you have in there? A closing paragraph. Good job. All right, so this is how Doc did it without a regular expression. They did it with just a for loop. So they take that character to lowercase. If it is a vowel, A, E, I, O, or U, we add that character with a P inside of it. Otherwise, we just add that character. So this is the standard for loop way. Someone earlier mentioned, like, why don't you just use a for loop? Yeah, this is the way to do it for sure. Oh, nice. Sika Player got a .dev domain. Oh, what's your .dev domain? Is it sikaplayer.dev? And thanks for the follow, Snorky Pie. All right, let's see how Rich did it with JavaScript. Sikaplayer.dev, nice. I wanted to get cj.dev, but it was exorbitantly expensive, and I think it's either taken or it's still really expensive. Yep, so Rich did it exactly the way I did it, but instead of doing a case-insensitive regular expression, they specified all the lowercase and uppercase vowels in their regular expression, but then they have that function. And I guess apparently the first parameter to the function is still the matched group. But yeah, the boring way, I panicked. Yeah, I don't know, I am a big fan of domain names. I have the domain coding.garden. That's originally why I chose the name Coding Garden, because I went on a domain website and just searched for like coding with all the new domains, and I saw Coding Garden and I was like, that sounds like a good name for a show. Poo.js, is it available? You should get it, Bob. Anybody can buy a .dev, so I like to use Namecheap, but there's I'm on a VPN right now, so it's like, hey, are you for real? That's a bicycle, that's also a bicycle, and that's a bicycle. Let's go. All right, that's a bicycle, that's a bicycle, that's a bicycle, that's a bicycle, that's a bicycle. Okay, yeah, so who asked that? Not Blue Beast. Probably can get Blue Beast. Bluebeast.dev, it's available. It definitely is. $14. Yeah, there you go. $14.98. Bluebeast.dev. I like Namecheap. They're my preferred way of getting domains. Give me. Actually, I don't know if that was like a Google CAPTCHA. That might have been a different CAPTCHA. All right, let's see how Neo did it. Neo did it with Python. Standard for loop way. So iterate over every character in the string. That's pretty cool. I like Python. You just say, let's loop over the string. JavaScript's a lot more verbose. And hello, the Murloc. Yeah, I stopped using GoDaddy a while back too. More coding games. I want to finish looking through everyone's solution. So yeah, so Neo solved it the same way Doc did, but with Python instead of JavaScript. Let's see how the real Python did it. Oh, the real Python did it with PHP. And it looks like they did the for loop method. So iterate over every character in the string. Grab that particular character, though. Oh, I see. No matter what, I don't know if anybody else did this, but no matter what, you always need to append the character, even if it's a vowel or not. So that's what we're doing right here, appending that character. And then if it is a vowel, we append P with the character. Everyone else, I think, was always appending... Thank you, Shaggy. Thanks for that drop. Everyone was also always appending character P character instead of just appending it first. So I like that. Great work, the real Python. Yeah, I think this the dot is a string concat in PHP. All right, how did Albert do it? Oh, a for each. We have an array of or a string of vowels and checking if it includes. Very cool. And then Dan, subscribe to Coding Garden. Cool. All right, let's do one more. And then I gotta go. No, not Coding Garden. Coding Game. Is the now.sh URL Google searchable? As in, could it possibly come? Yeah, absolutely. Like any URL on the internet can absolutely show up as a Google search result. It's just a matter of like what meta tags you put in the index.html and stuff like that. All right, here we go. And hello, Faye. Welcome to the show. Wait, did YouTube chat stop showing up? Maybe, maybe not. Oh no. YouTube got a leg up. YouTube is a little bit delayed anyways. Oh, and nobody joined. Okay. And a matter of what Google wants to show you. Exactly. All right, here we go. Got some new players. Oh, wait. Somebody dropped out. Oh, well. Shortest mode. Okay, so you have 15 minutes. You can take the entire time, but the person with the smallest number of bytes, the smallest number of characters, sorry, wins the challenge. So take your time. Given a series of letters, your program must find the first one that is not correctly placed regarding the alphabetical order. So you get a series of letters, uppercase, the first letter that does not respect alphabetical order. There's always at least 2 characters in less than 26. Can start and end anywhere in the alphabet. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do, because I'm feeling I'm feeling good. We're going to solve it all on one line. We're gonna solve it in code golf mode. We're not gonna write it out really big and then shorten it. We're gonna make it as small as possible from the beginning. So here's what we're gonna do. Oh wait, and what do we have to log? The first letter that's not in alphabetical order, A, B, C, D, F, the letter after it. The first letter that does not respect the alphabetical order. So the first missing letter, I'm guessing. Yeah, so, and the other thing is, if you're using JavaScript, specifically on the coding game editor, you can use the print function instead of console log, and that'll save you some characters. Yeah, you can. It's just built in. But here's what I'm thinking. Hacks. It's just an alias to console log. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to read in the input, and then I am going to do a filter. That's going to give a, well, no, so we read in the input. Let's turn it into an array, because it's a string. So I'm going to spread it into an array. And I'm going to filter by looking at the current value and the next value. So we're going to get the character and the index and the array itself. And I'm going to say, wait, not filter, we'll say find. Find. We want to find the first occurrence where this is true. Would it surely be F and not E because F jumped in front of E? I think we just need to return what's missing. So if I go A, B, C, D, and then the next thing is F, E was technically the missing one. Yeah, so we have 12 minutes. I gotta code this thing. The first letter that comes before the letter it follows. Are we sure about that? The first letter that does not respect the alphabetical order. I think it's the first letter that we'll see in our test cases. Hey Murloc, thanks for the potential XSS. No, the clash has already started. Oh yeah, my function is not done yet. So, okay, we get the character, the index, and the array, and I want to say if the character dot so this is technically a string of length 1. And I guess we can use CharCode at. Let me take a quick stretch. Do we have to wait? Do we have to search the entire thing and find the one that's out of place? My thought is we just iterate until we find one that that where it doesn't increment, right? So if I say c.charcode at 0 does not equal stretch, this is race. So if the character code of this current character is not equal to the character code of the next one, so I'll say the array at index I dot charcode at 0 plus 1. So if it's not, if the current one is not equal to the next one, then we've found it. Wait, am I missing a parenthesis? I'm missing a parenthesis. There we go. If the character code of the current letter is less than the previous one, that's the answer? Okay. If the character code is less than the next one. Let's try it. Undefined. That's why I think it's... Let's go back to what I had. A. Expected E. Let's just see what they're actually giving us. So they're giving us A, B, C, D, F, E, G, H. And we need to return E. Okay. And when I do this, it gives back A. That's wrong. It's stopping at the very first instance. So if... Oh, I plus 1. Sorry, I plus 1. And then this is giving us... No, come on. Well, character at in is less than character at in plus 1. So that's what I was thinking. What does that give us back? They gave us back F. So if that's the case, then technically we need to get the character code, add 1, and turn it into a string. We're at 74 characters. Has anybody finished? Yeah, use all the things as finished, and they have 51 characters. So we're already way over. What do you got, the Murloc? iframe. Nice. What Acid Spark said for sure. Okay, if the character code of the current letter is less than the previous one, it's the answer. Oh, so we'll do -1? But the issue with that is when we're using a find, it's going to start off at 0, so the previous one would have been undefined. But that would look like this. So character code of I -1 is... Wait, if the character code of the current letter is less than the previous one. Wait, I'm going to put it back. Is less than the previous one. And then we only want to do this if if I. Okay. All right, I did it with 77 characters. We have 6 minutes left. Alka did it with 50. Okay, how can I make this smaller? I don't know if I can. Let's think about this, though. So Oh, I see. So here it is. There is always one and only one incorrectly placed letter. So we basically have to find that incorrectly placed letter. Okay. So we're doing the right thing. Basically, like in the test case here, when you get to E, this character code is less than F. So we found it. So we need to iterate all the way there. Okay. 51 characters. Found the Python user. They both use JavaScript. Yeah, 50 characters. Can we use a regular expression? Schmitty has 46. What is C less than B in JavaScript? That should work then, huh? If I get rid of the CharCode app. Thank you, Unhot. That should do it, I think. And we have 49 characters. Ooh, I think we just won. I'm gonna submit it. Props to Unhot. But yeah, you're right. We actually didn't need the CharCode app. we could just directly compare the characters. Nice. 5 minutes, hurry. Oh, good morning, Florin. How's it going? Read line for of. Are you going to submit that, Doc? Yeah, the CharCode was unnecessary. We did it! Yeah, thanks, Unhot. I would have figured that out eventually. All right, let's see how Alka did it. So, if you look at mine, basically we're searching through the array until we find a character that is after in the alphabetical order than the previous character. So if the current character is less than the one that came before it, then it's out of order. So let's see what Alka did. So if P is less than N, and P does not equal N, and they are using find. And P is the @ sign? What are you doing with the @ sign? Oh, Y and I and so because we're comparing it against the previous one, it's array. It would be -1 index when I is 0. So I'm saying it basically if I is greater than 0. It's using the truthy falsy thing of it. So if I is greater than 0, then do this comparison. Otherwise, we would be doing a negative index. P equals N, then not that to return false. What's the @ sign do? P equals @ sign. If @ sign is less than N, okay. It's the ASCII character right before A. Capital A. I don't understand, but are you comparing it to the previous one? Oh, P equals N. Okay, you're assigning it. I see. I got totally confused. But basically, this is your holder for the previous value. I see. Okay, that makes sense. So because you always start off with A, the alphabet starts with A, you're comparing A with @ because A always comes before @ in terms of ASCII characters. If that's not the case, then you reassign P to be the previous value so you can use it in the next iteration. I see. So in my code, I indexed into the array, or into the array of characters to get the previous value, whereas Alka is actually storing it in a variable. Very clever. I like it. Yeah. Could a look ahead make it so you don't have to check I? Possibly, but the tricky part is finding where that character is in the string. Because it may not be exactly after where it should have been, I think. Yeah. As P equals N. And thanks for the follow, Clack. If the first would be B, your code is wrong. Technically, no, because the @ sign still comes before B in the ASCII code lookup table. We talked about the ASCII code lookup table a lot today, even when we weren't talking about that particular problem earlier. Alka is a clever guy. I agree. And thanks for the follow, Tresh. Shaggy, ASCII. Subliminal CIA parameters. All right, let's see what use all the things did. Read it in, split it. What is this doing? ASCII. Why do we have the empty string here? Oh. Is this like a tagged template? What is happening here? Can someone explain this? Their solution could be print, read line. Yeah, and that would have been less characters, huh? But wait, there's no W. It's just like split, same thing, less characters. Ah. Is it? I've never seen that. And is it the fact that template strings can accept like a template function? Oh well. And thanks for the follow, Sush. What are you asking me? Put in the A. So if we got rid of the split and then spread it, yeah. And yeah, I'm streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. And thanks for the follow, Matt. Cool, it's a tagged function. A template literal is like calling a function with params. You see it in React? I don't think so. I've never seen this in React. But oh, if you're using like what are they called? What are those called? Styled components. Those are like tagged template literals, or like lit HTML that use tagged template literals. I mean, our argument as I don't know what you're saying, Alka. I'm sorry. Yeah, styled components for sure. Oh, you need backticks, Depopom. Instead of single quotes, backticks. That's the key. All right, let's see how 21 second did it with Python. And how many characters? 77 characters. Get the input. Iterate over every character in the input. If the current character is greater than the next character, then print the next character. Very good. 46 characters. Ah, okay. I guess that's similar to my solution, right? But instead of doing what now? Ord is the Python function for getting the character code of, or the ASCII code of a character. Wouldn't they need to check that k-1 is actually a value? Alka? Is MySQL a good fit for a Node.js app? Yeah. I mean, you really don't want to look at if does it work with Node.js? It's more about the application that you're building, and is MySQL a good fit for that particular business problem that you're solving. I built this. You can search my YouTube channel for when I built it. But it's just a custom backend server that's running on my computer that pulls in YouTube chats and Twitch chats and then shows them all here. And then I have this other UI over here where I can like acknowledge messages, but after a while it becomes way too many. So I just use this. I and isn't necessary. The code broke when I didn't have that though, I thought. I don't know. Okay, I guess I could have won even more, but I still won. I haven't had back problems, but I have had RSI, so a repetitive strain injury. Using the keyboard in a weird way or using the mouse in a weird way. And this just makes sure that instead of keeping my hands in like a weird thing or like always on the mouse, it always reminds me to pick my hands up, move my fingers around, and prevents an RSI from happening. I actually have some wrist pain right now, which is why I'm using a left-handed mouse. You know, I guess you can't see it, but I'm using a left-handed. I'm right-handed, but I'm using a left-handed mouse to prevent using this arm. I wanted to skip the break. I always do. Time to sleep. See you later, not Blue Beast. It is necessary. Print, Stack Overflow. Stress. Anyone got corona? Calm down. A repetitive stress injury. I like that. A less than undefined equals false. A at -1 equals undefined. Oh. Okay. I don't always work at a standing desk, no. Okay, but yeah, we're getting there. So Neo did it in Python. Very similar. If the current character, and I guess you don't, in Python, you also don't really even need to use the ORD function. You can just compare two characters. If the current character is greater than the next one, log the next one. And then let's see how Dan did it in JavaScript. So we have A, which is equal to the correct possible string of A through Z. And then we're going to iterate over the input. And if the index of the character in the input is less than the index of the character... if the index of the character in the input is less than the index of the one before it, print the current character. Oh, I see. So instead of looking up the character code, you're just looking up the index in the array, which actually would be very similar to the character codes because they're in a sequential order as well. Very cool. And thanks for the follow, Edgamente. Do not click me. Let's see, what does it do? Alert hello world. So I actually have all those things stripped out. I can click it all day long. Nothing will happen. I'll do the inventory app either Thursday or Saturday, but the next live stream I do is going to be about the inventory app. A whole lot of looking behind instead of ahead. We're talking about the array indexing there. Oh, look at that. It's Coding Garden all the way down. Yeah, the comma operator is really great for code golf. You can do things like a reduce on one line, because you can use the comma operator before the comma, do assignments or whatever you need, and then the last value after the comma can be the return value, like in a reduce. It's fun to watch. That's good. Tomorrow is Thursday. Yes, correct. So maybe I might stream tomorrow. I wonder why I checked it, if checking it isn't 0. Someone just mentioned earlier that character less than undefined is false. Let's see. And I might have changed it before I swapped the less than and greater than. So if I say like A is less than undefined, that returns false. So technically it would just skip the first comparison. And then it would compare A and B. If A is less than, so find that would be false. Oh, but we're looking at the previous one. So then it becomes, it would have been this. It would have been B, also false. And then finally, when you get to like E and I guess F, no, E and F, then you get true. So I think that's why it worked. Did the problem say every character had to be included? I don't think R could be in there. I'm not really sure. we can go back. Let's see what NerdCan did in Python. Whoa. Grab the input. In another variable, store the sorted input. And then we're doing, so difflib, I guess, is built into Python. Do an indiff of A and B. So diff the sorted and non-sorted array, or string. And then find the index where something was added. So I guess indiff will create a diff of two strings. And I guess, is it similar to like a patch in source code that says like something was added? So find the index of where something was added, and that is the one that's out of order. Is that what's happening here? Who's NerdCan? Are you in the chat? Yeah, that works. I don't really use any other competition sites. This is cool. In the code that we looked at, it was the current letter less than the previous letter. So it would have been A less than undefined. Good night, Jake. Cool, yeah. Who is NerdCan? Hello, keep on coding. Is NerdCan in the chat? Because this is interesting. I think that's what indiff does. Like it compares two string and returns like a what's the difference between the two, and it's like a Merchan is NerdCan. So is that what's happening here? It gives you back a string that says where things are different or where they changed, and you're just indexing into that. Python indiff. What does this even do? Difflib. See, indiff. Yeah, I guess so. I guess I'm guessing that that's what it's doing. All right. And thanks for the follow, Hope. I believe that is all the time we have for. This was fun. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Thanks to Depopom for submitting the katas for me to solve. If you'd like to submit katas for next week, check out github.com/codinggarden/code-katas. And you can click on issues and suggest katas for me to solve. Next week, though, we might actually revisit the tiny 3-pass compiler and solve it once and for all. This would be the third one, but yeah, next Wednesday, tune in for that. Yeah, and thanks much, Depopam. What does Smitty say? Oh yeah, I did see that news. It's unfortunate. Whoa. Yeah, I strip all style tags because people started doing really weird things where you could like absolutely position something on the overlay. So I got rid of that. Thanks for the follow, Zombie Killer. Thanks for the follow, Use All the Things. Thanks for the follow, Hope. Why DuckDuckGo? For one, they are privacy oriented, so privacy simplified. Two, they have really cool search filters built in. So if you do exclamation mark, there are a ton of built-in, basically shortcuts to search some other website. So I always use it for things like MDN, string replace. And then it immediately jumps to MDN. You can also search NPM. It'll immediately jump to NPM. You can also search Wikipedia. List of U.S. states. It'll redirect to Wikipedia. So those are cool. And then it has some cool things that are built into the search results. They used to have like Stack Overflow embedded directly in the search results. I don't think they do anymore. Like if I search for something like that, yeah, maybe I have to enable it, but they used to embed it. You can use the marquee tag. Yeah, there you go. Acid Sparks got it. Defeat the tiny compiler! Yeah. Alright, Done Hot. We'll see you next time. Okay, the thing is, though, it doesn't always have the best search results. I try to always search DuckDuckGo. It's not good with, like, recent news or anything that is, like, new. But for most things, it works. But if you do need to search Google, you can do !G. And that jumps out to Google. So. All right, let's find someone to raid. And if you're watching on YouTube, head on over to twitch.tv/codinggarden. I might stream tomorrow. What time is it? No, I haven't been getting good rest. I need to just sleep. Because usually, if I try to stream in the morning, I have to wake up at like 7 or 7:30. And then the rest of my day, I'm like really tired. Let's say maybe Friday. Maybe Friday. So yeah, if you're on YouTube, head over to twitch.tv/codinggarden, and we are going to find another stream to raid. Looks like Ninja Bunny is on. I haven't seen her on in a long time, but let's see who else is live. Oh, nice. Yeah, I saw that. I believe they have a... You know what? The only way I found it, because I saw that there was literally a Twitch user called LiveCoders. I think it is. Yeah. So, and that's great to point out. So, maybe I won't stream tomorrow, because you should watch this. If you go to twitch.tv/livecoders, tomorrow, I don't know what time it starts, but members of the Live Coders team are actually going to be doing like an online conference, and they'll be all presenting on this channel, Live Coders. I think there's another channel too. Do you know the Live Coders? You know, Alka, what's going to be the main one? Are they going to broadcast to both? Yeah. But yeah, that's tomorrow. So tune into that. That'll be cool. Here, let me share the link. Shout out! Wait, what was the shout out thing? But also, shout out to Sika Player for the raid earlier, much appreciated. And also shout out to CM Griffin for the raid. And shout out to Cedric with the $5 super chat. You all are great. You make this whole thing we're doing here a whole lot more fun and interesting. Let's see. And thanks for the follow, Schmitty. A stream team, yeah. Also, if you go to twitch.tv/team/livecoders, you can see all the people on the Live Coders team. And I think we'll raid Ninja Bunny. Oh wait. Is she coding? Oh no, she's sewing. Though she has a really cool raid thing that happens. Test? Let's see what Codephobia is doing. We'll find someone. She's sewing masks. That's really cool. Write a URL shortener with me. Yeah, I do believe Twitch was made with React. The conference starts at 5 a.m. Pacific time, which is 6 a.m. for me, I think. Where are these people? Why are they waking up so early? Here we go. Was this advertised anywhere? Because I literally only found it because I somehow went to twitch.tv/livecoders. Where was this even advertised? 8 a.m. Eastern. Okay. All right. Is my sound on? Why can't I hear them? Are they not? Down under time. Oh, let's see. I'll help you out. I should be leaving, but world time buddy. Is the entire continent of Australia are you in Australian Central Time or Australian Eastern Time? Oh, thank you, Murloc. Thanks for the follow. Brisbane. Let's see. And Pacific time? Pacific Daylight Time? So do we say 5 a.m.? 5 a.m. Pacific time is noon. That's pretty good. Right? Oh, no. Opposite. So, 5 a.m. is, I guess, like 11 or 12 at night. BST? BST. What is the BST? Oh, British summertime. That is 1:30 p.m. Noon the previous day, or the next day. Okay, who are we gonna raid? Oh, a 17-hour event. Wow. Cool. There's a lot going on in science and technology. Let's see. All right. We're going to raid Ninja Bunny. She's making masks. They look cool, but her raid when a raid happens, it's usually pretty cool. So, if you're on YouTube, go to twitch.tv/codinggarden. You can join us in this. And thanks everyone for watching. This was super fun. Thanks for playing Coding Game. And thanks everyone for all the follows and everything else. Tune in probably Friday. I'll say Friday most likely for some more Coding Garden. Yeah, it's all good, Alka. We'll go hang out over there anyways. So wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this.